You are listening to Season 2 of The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, the short and often daily podcast in which I chronicle my life and attempt to be a writer by writing daily. Sometimes. Hello, today is Wednesday the 29th of October 2025 and you're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. And you've got an early podcast today for a quite simple reason. I wanted to talk about the last 2 days because I just had a really good time. Went to see 2 plays in London, different bits of London. And obviously the podcast you got the last 2 days were pre-recorded. But today's live. Today's being recorded on the day that it goes out, which is what I normally do. And yeah, so 2 days ago, at the Richmond Theatre, went to see a stage adaptation of the very first book in the Midsummer Murders series, the D.I. Barnaby series, whatever it's called, which is also the first episode of the TV adaptation of it. And yeah, I told you before I actually watched the first episode, so that I'd get if there were any in-jokes relating to the TV show. And there weren't many. There was one little joke about the crime rate in Midsummer being quite high, which is an ongoing... I mean, it is a bit mad, isn't it? That, you know, got an area that relatively small with, you know, there's got to be about 100... There's got to be about... Well, actually, no. The first episode has a body count of 7. And there's been something like 140 episodes. So... It's not a postcode you'd want to move to, given, you know, if you actually looked up the crime stats, you'd be like, whoa. But no, it was really good fun. So is it Daniel Casey who played Sergeant Troy in that opening episode, played Barnaby in this version. And there were some very clever adaptations. So they had like this window in the background which displayed the house they were in from the outside. But it was also used... Quite often a trope in that kind of television show is when you reveal what's going on, you'll then have flashbacks as the narrator talks through the clues and how he came to the conclusion. And this window, which was a huge, great big thing at the back of the stage, a circular thing with badgers drift around the outside. It was also used to show those flashbacks. So the actors that would step in and sort of reenact the moments that Barnaby's remembering that led him to the conclusion about who the murderer was. So it was very, very well staged. It was an awful lot of fun. And I am going to end up watching more of the TV show, which is really annoying because I could do without getting obsessed by something else. Thanks. And then so that was 2 days ago. Then yesterday, went to see the sort of 2 p.m. performance at the Noel Coward Theatre of The Importance of Being Earnest. And it's one of those plays that I knew it existed. I knew it was by Oscar Wilde. I knew there were camp overtones or undertones or whatever. I know that the play basically was his last play because it got taken off into its run after a scandal involving, him being exposed as being one of those homosexuals. And so, that's all I really knew about it. And I knew there was something to do with a handbag in it. And obviously I'd heard the phrase, a handbag, but had no context for it whatsoever. I didn't know, what that scene was in relation to. So... I mean, hats off to everybody involved. So firstly, it's a 100-year-old comedy, which is still funny. So it's well written. The staging was absolutely superb. I mean, the difference between the Midsummer Murders and The Importance of Being Earnest is Midsummer Murders, it's touring. So it's got to be able to be adapted. The set has got to be able to be put into each theatre as it does the tour. Whereas Importance of Being Earnest has only got to be at this theatre. And honest to God, it was such good fun. Had really good seats right up at the front. So, all the people were right in front of us. And everybody was absolutely wonderful. So the big draws for me were Stephen Fry, Ollie Alexander and Hugh Dennis. I've known of Hugh Dennis for years. I mean, in the I think it was in the late 80s or early 90s, him and Steve Punt used to do bits on the Jasper Carrot TV show. Then, of course, they were involved in the Mary Whitehouse Experience with David Baddiel and Rob Newman. And so, yeah, he's one of those people that I've just known about all my life. Fry was obviously I've forgotten the character's name. But he was absolutely amazing in the part. I mean, he dominated the stage. And cause he's only really in 2 scenes. They're quite lengthy scenes. But he was superb. The guy who played Algernon was Ollie Alexander. He was excellent. The guy who played his friend, is it John? Or Jack, sorry, was equally good. In fact, I think he had a bigger part out of the 2 because it all did seem to be more about his friend in the end. And it was brilliantly staged. It was genuinely hilarious. I knew it had a camp side to it, which I thought because I'd seen a couple of clips of them all in the mad costumes dancing, so I thought that might spoil it. But actually, it really topped and tailed the show. You had a little mad bit at the beginning, a little mad bit at the end. And the mad bit at the end was basically the encore where they all came in and took a bow. And it was hilarious. I'm so thrilled to have seen it. As such good seats as well. I mean, they were literally almost in touching distance. So, yes, I thoroughly enjoyed both those plays. I said, I'm definitely going to watch some more Midsummer Murders, thanks to my friend who got me into that. In fact, the person I was with, actually, because I wasn't sure she'd enjoy it, because she has less of a tolerance of the camp, as it were, is my perception. I've probably got that wrong. But she absolutely loved it. She actually said she'd happily watch it again. I think I would too, because it was the performances. I mean, the 2. I can't. I should have brought the programme down so I can name the characters and the actors who played them. But the 2 girls, the one that played the 2 love interests for the 2 boys, basically, were hilarious. I mean, it was just the little expressions and the way they spoke. You can tell I loved every minute of it. I thought it was fantastic. It was such a good ensemble cast. And even what could have been the most minor part was the one actress who played the 2 butlers. So Algernon's butler and Jack's butler. And literally every scene they were in, you were looking forward to them walking on because you knew it was going to be hilarious, and it was. Particularly the second one, Jack's butler, who was, I don't know whether they're meant to be really, really old or really, really drunk or both, but oh God, it was funny. So yes, sorry I've overrun. So the reason I've done the podcast now is because I knew I'd want to talk about that. I've got a gym induction finally in a couple of hours, so I'm recording this at 9:30. My gym induction is at 11:15, so I'm going to do that, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to do some writing, but you won't know until I tell you whether I've done it or not tomorrow. But that's for tomorrow. Take care. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. For more information about what I'm writing, go to linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W, where you can find details of my website and social media. I may see you there.